This past week, getting those guys, some different playing time, different situations.
Yeah, I played a number of guys. We played 4 guys again this past weekend, and had an okay day. The effort was good as far as guys. Their style of play was improved from the week before, where it wasn't as good. Still have a couple execution things that we got to clean up that we've gotten better at this week in practice.
Ethan seemed back to normal or pretty close to it as far as...
Yeah. Yep. He seems good.
I want to talk about Aaron Medley for a second. How big of a boost was that last week? 7 touchbacks seemed like they were starting to drive.
Kickoff, he certainly did really well. 7 of the 8 of them in the end zone, not returnable. So that's what we like to see, and like to see him do that on a consistent basis. So that's huge for us, because knowing that there's no opportunity for the ball to get past the 25, we're going to start with good field position on defense. That's really big in the overall scheme of things. When you're going to play tight ball games, you need to have great field position.
Have you noticed an improvement in his leg strength since he's come here?
Yeah, he's been improving throughout since he got here in the summer. He's grown more confident. He's been hitting the ball better and better. So I think he's getting better and better every week.
How close was the race between him and George? And would George ever get a look at field goals?
Yeah, George is certainly capable for us, absolutely. Aaron's our guy, but George is certainly very capable and a good kicker.
But with Evan, will he be the main or only guy replacing Devin, or will anyone else get a look there, or is that pretty much?
Yeah, he certainly did a nice job this past weekend, and we're expecting him to play a role for us in that capacity this weekend and in the future.
Yeah, so how did he do out there Saturday, and what were your impressions of it?
Yeah, he did a nice job. They were kicking the ball short, which was trying to mess up with our return a little bit and trying to not allow us to run the return as we would see it. And he did a nice job of playing through an arm tackle and saw some green grass to the big field and took off running and used his speed. So he did a nice job with that.
He said, or Butch said, that Evan was always kind of in his pocket trying to get him to get the ball in his hands. Was he kind of bugging you too about trying to get the ball in the return game?
Yeah, he's been someone that we've been repping at the return game the last handful of weeks, and has done a nice job. And when his number was called, he did a nice job this weekend.
Have you seen that hurdle before?
I'm sorry?
Have you seen that hurdle before in practice or anything, or did he just?
No, I hadn't seen the hurdle before in practice. We usually don't get in those situations, but yeah, he did a nice job this weekend.
It's like a couple of guys got in his way on the return. Is that something you correct, or?
Yeah, I mean that was down the field like that in that scenario was a little bit of a scramble, and we didn't have a guy that ripped through at the end, which could have led to a house call, but the guys were giving good effort and fighting.
Other than speed, what do you look for in a kickoff return man?
A guy that's going to be able to catch the ball going forward consistently. Speed's obviously a big thing, because kickoff return a little different than punt return. There's not a lot of dancing involved with it. I mean, you're hitting a certain hole and doing it well. You're looking for ball security. Then you're looking for a guy that does have good vision, because you've got to make the right cuts at full speed. It's not a dance and where's the right gap. It's I'm hitting and I got to make a decision off of that defender who's being blocked. What lane am I going to take? And you got to do that at full speed. So you're looking for a guy that can field the ball well, has great speed, and is making good decisions.
How is Evan in those areas?
He's doing a nice job. Yeah, doing a nice job.
We finally saw Vic Wharton get on the field against UT Chattanooga. Just what do you guys see from him?
You talk to Coach Z a little bit more as far as receiver-wise and so forth, but he's a guy that's athletic, that's doing a good job. I mean, he's getting reps on several of the special teams and has done a nice job. He got in there on kickoff return, did a nice job on on the one rep there, getting some reps at punt and punt return. So he's doing a good job, and we see a guy that's an athlete, that's a playmaker. You saw that on film in his high school, and he's continued to show that, being a guy that can play both ways, can tackle a guy. So he's not just a receiver. He can go down and tackle a guy for special teams as well.
Is kick return one of the more just natural positions? You just have to be a playmaker. I mean, you can do the scheme and the fundamentals and all that stuff, but once it gets down to catching the ball, it's just making a play.
Well, I think the kick return is also trusting your return, because there are certain lanes that you are absolutely trying to hit. There's no question about it. It's not quite like punt return where there's a lot more leeway with where exactly you're going to hit that thing. That's a little bit more punt return. Kick return, you're following certain blockers, and you're supposed to hit them or hit the hole based upon where those blockers fit on their defender.
Is it harder to hammer home that trust when it's a true freshman that's back there deep, or any different than?
No, I don't think so. I think that's not the issue. When the guys know who that they should be watching and following, the trust issue is when, just like a running back on power, if it doesn't go on the first one, it doesn't go on the second one, you start saying, well, shoot, is that where I should be hitting it? And trusting that that's the right spot for it to hit, because it may not be the first one that spurts through, it may not be the second one, but it could be the third or the fourth, that there's a big enough crease for us to squirt through that thing and go. So that's the only time that you see trust issues of trusting where you need to go, is when it hasn't hit first time, second time, trusting that it's going to squirt through.
Coach Jones was asked yesterday just how different